Hi, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. I'm Nitya Bansal, and welcome to another episode of In Confidence with Dr. Reddy, powered by Adraas-Realtime Environment for Dispute Resolution. Today, we will be discussing about mediation and mediation from the perspective of inclusion and diversity. And to speak on this topic, we have with us Alix Povey. So welcome, Alix. Before I hand over the mic to you, let me just briefly introduce Alix. So Alix is a commercial and family mediator and a divorce consultant. Alix has experience in family and commercial mediations and has worked in family mediations for quite a while. She's sensitive to the issues involved in family matters where children are involved, and she works with families to facilitate an outcome that is workable to all parties. Alix, that's the profile I basically took from your website, but I would now call upon you to just add, just introduce yourselves in your own words, because I think that's better. So please.
Thank you. Yes, well, so mediation is completely my passion. I trained in dispute resolution actually many years ago. But I discovered mediation quite a number of years ago as well, probably somewhere between 12 and 15 years ago, I think. And I discovered that actually it suits my personality. It's something that I think it can be such a powerful tool. Anyway, that's a whole other discussion, but it can be really powerful. So I firmly believe in mediation, and I want to do everything that I can to promote mediation actually, and try to encourage other people to go to mediation. But I think that there's quite a road that we need to go down to get there. It's not just simple as saying, okay, yes, we must go to mediation and off we go and everything works. It can't. And so I've spoken to a lot of people in the industry to try to understand the different issues that we face when it comes to mediation, and so that was how I got to the idea of setting up mediation chambers.
Okay, great. So yeah, I mean, I know about mediation chambers, and I've heard all good things about it. So, and yeah, I would love to know, why you started it. But before that, I'm just curious to understand.
Sorry, yes, the company.
Yeah, I'm just curious to understand. I'm guessing you were also primarily an attorney or a lawyer, and from that you moved to mediation? No. Okay. So yeah,
Thank you.
Something
No, I have quite a different background actually. So I trained at law school. I did train to be a lawyer, but I never wanted to be a lawyer. I never got my practicing certificate because I was confident right in the beginning that I did not want to do law. And so I actually, after I finished at law school, I moved into a completely different direction. And actually I worked in IT for quite some time. Yeah, so I've got quite a strong IT background actually, which is a little bit different and yeah, different from many lawyers, I think. I used to do a lot of coding and programming, and I love all of that stuff. But anyway, that's by the by. And then I fast forward a number of years, and I was coming back to the workplace after having my children and thinking, what do I do? And whilst I then sort of had some history in IT, my qualifications were still in law. So my options at that point were to continue to do something in law, because the IT world had moved on. That you sit back for even half a year and it's gone. So my opportunities were then in law, and I came across the Vis Pre-moots, and I started working for the Vis Pre-moots, and also for an arbitrator. And then I started training under the arbitrator, and learning more about arbitration and mediation. And he taught me probably everything I know, maybe not now. Yeah, I haven't been with him for a very long time, but at that time, I learned an awful lot from him. And so that was how I then became very, very passionate about mediation, actually, specifically. But dispute resolution, I just thought, wow, yeah, this is the answer. And I found it very, very interesting.
Amazing, amazing. So I really like and I really connect very well with people who, find themselves resonate with mediation more than with arbitration and with legal practice, because I think I personally am also one of them. So amazing. Now, coming to mediation chambers. So, I think you will be the best person to introduce or share more about mediation chambers. I know it's a mediation panel or an institution that basically offers very high quality mediation services globally. But yeah, please let me and let the viewers know what mediation chambers is. Why did you set it up? And how is it different from the others, and what does it bring to the table that the other mediation centers don't? So please.
Okay, thank you. So mediation chambers was sort of a brainchild from having spoken with quite a number of different people. And I cannot take the credit for this idea at all. It wasn't mine. I was given it by someone else who I'm very, very grateful for planting the seed. And the idea behind it is to try to address some of the problems that we have with mediation. It does not go anywhere near to addressing all of the problems, but some. So what I felt needed to be done from these conversations is to widen the pool of mediators that are out there, that I use, let's say, because oftentimes there are so many times you might go into a mediation and it could be that the mediation fails, and it could be because of the mediator, it could be because of parties, it could be the matter wasn't meant for mediation. There could be so many reasons actually why a matter fails, but if you don't have a good mediator in the beginning, you're going to fail, right? And so I wanted to offer good quality mediators, but I also didn't want to offer sort of, there's some, the great and the good, some very famous people, very famous mediators who are excellent, and they get a lot of the work. So I wanted to increase the diversity across the field of mediation, because I knew that there were some excellent mediators out there who are not big famous names, but actually they're really, really good. And I just thought, it doesn't have to always be these famous people to get these appointments. I think we need to open up the pool a lot more, because they may be a fabulous mediator, but maybe they don't gel with the parties, or there are so many other maybes. Just because they're a great and famous mediator doesn't mean they're necessarily right for that matter. So, but they might be appointed over and over because people feel comfortable and familiar with them. So I wanted to give that level of comfort. I couldn't give familiarity, but comfort I felt I could give if I could bring this pool of mediators together, different people from all around the world, from my network, from speaking with other people as well, and getting a hub. So it's like a hub for mediators, you could say. So it's not a massive list. There's going to be 15 people on there, and so people from different jurisdictions, different practice areas, and different backgrounds as well. Again, mediators don't have to be lawyers. And I think very often good mediators are not necessarily starting off as lawyers.
Right. So okay. So so yeah, I get it. I mean, I really like the concept because firstly, of course, mediators, like you said, we consider only the professional and the reputed mediators to be mediators. And although there's a lot of people who have the capabilities to mediate, but because they don't get the exposure and, for whatever reason, I think professionally we consider that the pool is very limited, whereas it actually is not. And all that is there is that the other mediators need recognition and kind of stuff. So, but brilliantly, I think it's a very good vision, and what you're doing with Mediation Hub, Mediation Chambers is amazing. But I think one thing that I know and one thing that I've heard in my previous conversation with you is that you are trying to bring in more diversity and inclusion through mediation chambers and in your mediation practice. So I would love to know more how you're doing that.
Thank you. Yes, so this is something also that's very, very close to my heart as well, diversity inclusion. And I don't think that it's a closed conversation as in just gender. I think that actually diversity inclusion includes everyone across the board. So I'll start off by saying that is not a gender specific thing. But with chambers, so I've spoken to people and who so one thing that actually will be evident with mediation chambers, actually I talk about, it's not just gender, but there are a lot of female mediators on with chambers. In part actually because I think that females make very good mediators. It's our natural personalities. It's
No, I can agree there.
So I think that actually we can really help a lot by having more females out there. But also, again, diversity, again, not just looking at the traditional lawyer, the traditional barrister even, who often will be considered to be a good mediator, and they'll be the ones who are used. I think people with different backgrounds as well, they can also be excellent mediators. We've got a couple on there who haven't 100%, they haven't come the traditional route. There's one person who's not a lawyer. He's heavily in insurance. You notice a male, but heavily in insurance. He's had I think he had some sort of military background as well in the past. But his character actually and his history means that he's very, very knowledgeable in his field, in finance and insurance. And his character, he's very good at mediation as well. He's got the right personality for it. So I didn't want to just stop at looking at lawyers or, so the usual way that you might think of as a mediator, how you come through the ranks, as it were. So again, I wanted to sort of increase that, work on the diversity angle and really open things up a lot more. I really believe that if the more diverse we can be in our workplace, in our lives and everything, we learn so much more. There's so much more that's open to us and to everyone else. And I think that if we open things up to everyone, life will just be better.
Wow, that's
a little
amazing.
bit simplistic, but
no, I think there's beauty in simplicity, and I think life should be very I think it's amazing because you're not just of course there's people who want the exposure, so you're not only just bringing them on board and giving them the opportunity, but also you're learning. So it's mutual, so you're also learning how their life is different from ours, how you're sensitizing yourself to what makes their challenges, or what their how their life makes them what they are. And I think we all learn from each other. So definitely I totally don't think that lawyers make the best mediators. I totally feel that that people, it's more like a personality type. There's some people who are more empathetic, they're more I would say, so like we said, women, but it's just the femininity. So it's men with those empathetic skills can be equally good mediators. So I think it's that quality which is amazing. So brilliant. So moving from there, Alix, I also want to talk about, I think you've been organizing these pre-moots. So I'm curious to know. So I I read this on your profile. I've been seeing all the, the advertisements and the blogs, etc. about them. But I'm very curious to know, why is it called pre-moot? Like, I've heard, I'm myself a I'm a lawyer, so we've done moots. There are all these popular moots, but what is it? Why is it called a pre-moot, and how is it different from any other moots? So please.
Okay. Well, in very simple terms, a pre-moot is a practice moot. But to break that down, we have so 30 years ago, the Willem C. Vis International Arbitration Moot was started in Vienna by Eric Bergston. And so this always follows a very strict sort of traditional method, and there's a problem that's written and that's used throughout the moot. And then there was in Hong Kong, the Vis East was started, and that was 20 years ago, so 10 years after the Vis Vienna started, and that's sort of considered to be the little sister. And so these are what would be called the moots, and so they both use the same problem. And over the years, more and more teams have taken part, but they then wanted to have practice sessions before the moot started. So to have that practice session, organizations started to organize a pre-moot, which was the practice moot, effectively. So using the same problem, using the same rules, the same everything, so that they would have that full practice session. And so that's what we've done. We've started these practice moots, pre-moot, and that's how you get there. So,
okay, so yeah, I think that's why it's called pre-moot. Okay, now it makes sense, and I think that's pretty much required, because students, they jump into these moots, but they don't have that background, and like you said, there are some entry barriers, or you can say it's not accessible for everybody. Is that also one of the reasons? Because I think some of the global moots, they also have expensive registration fees. Then I think the students have to fly and stuff like that. So
yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, so this so we've started this is called the AISC APAC pre-moot, and this actually is a combination of two pre-moots joined together. We originally had the APAC Vis pre-moot, and the AISC had a pre-moot. And so this year we've joined together to make the AISC APAC pre-moot. And so this one is exactly to address all of that, is because we realize that there are teams in Nepal, for example, who, it's very, very hard to get the registration fee, to get the money for to fly to Hong Kong or Vienna or anywhere, anywhere. I mean, it's a lot of money. And so we wanted to do something that meant that students could still take part no matter what. So this pre-moot fully addresses all of the problems that we hope that are out there. And if we've missed any, we're saying to people, please come to us, talk to us about it, and let's see how we can help you and fix the problem. So there's no registration fee. So the general rounds are all online, so there's no cost for teams there. If they get through to the elimination rounds, we're planning to pay for their accommodation. So sorry, then the elimination rounds are in person in Kuala Lumpur at the AIAC. And so we're planning to pay for their accommodation. The food will all be catered for throughout the time that they're there. There's cash prizes. We're even trying to get an internship as prizes. So actually, if teams were to be flying to Hong Kong for the Vis East, because then instead of having to have a direct flight to Hong Kong, which is more costly than a flight that stops somewhere, they can save the money, stop in KL, do the pre-moot, so then they get extra education, extra practice, extra networking, join the pre-moot there.
And extra travel.
Exactly, yes, absolutely. Extra travel, even better.
Yeah, I mean, they can also roam about a little bit.
Absolutely, yes, yeah, they can learn so much more about KL, and if they win that, then actually there's cash prizes there as well, so they can even come out with more money at the end of it. And it's not just one cash prize as well, so we're looking at giving cash prizes for various different prizes. We're hoping to get an internship as a prize as well. Not guaranteed, I cannot promise anything, but that's our hope. You know, we want to sort of give things of value to the students back as well, so that they can come out with something extra in their pocket, let's say. So actually it can really benefit them, but joining the pre-moot, and if they don't win, then they can still get stuff out of it as well. You know, they get that extra practice, that extra education, extra networking, extra information, and it's not restricted as well just to teams who are joining the Viz or the Viz East. Anyone can join it, so even if you can't join the Viz or Viz East, you can still join our pre-moot. And the other thing that we've done is that we wanted to make sure that anyone who has any kind of disability in any kind of way can be helped as well. So if you go to our website, you'll see that it's fully accessible, and it's been made accessible to everyone that we can possibly think of that we could be helping. So even if you're dyslexic, you can go onto the website and make it accessible for you. If you have ADHD, there are certain things that you can do with the website that also make it easier for you to look at the website. For people who have a sight impediment, we're making all the materials in Braille. We have our webinars, they're all given a sign language interpreter for anyone who is deaf. And so these are the things that we can think of. And if there's other things that people need, then we're saying to them, please come and tell us what you need, and we will try our best to accommodate you and make sure that you can join us. The idea is we wanted to make arbitration accessible for all and education accessible for all. So that's the plan, is just to make things open as possible, get everyone to be able to join it, and, you know, really open arbitration, diversity, inclusion, really sort of, you know, make sure that we're doing what we would like, what I think even the arbitration community as well wants, you know, to make it open for everyone. With a greater pool of diversity, the better everything is.
So this is amazing, because this is something, I mean, for me also, when we speak about diversity in arbitration, all that I could think of is gender diversity, but you're actually taking it a step ahead, and you're also, you know, training and, you know, giving opportunities for people with other kind of disabilities, or so that's, I think that's just amazing. I think hats off to you and the founders and the organizers of Pre-moot. And also, I think the whole concept of mediation chambers, I think that's amazing. And I know for myself that, you know, the mediators that I see or I've interacted with from mediation chambers, they're definitely people I love to connect with. And, you know, they are people who appear to be very approachable, and I think that's what a mediator should be. So I'm very sure that the quality of mediators of mediation chambers is amazing, and I would recommend it to, you know, all the viewers who are watching it. If they need a mediator or if they need mediation services, they should definitely connect with you. And I think they can find your contact details on the website, Mediation Chambers.
Yeah,
right?
so it's mediation-chambers.com.
Mediation-chambers.com. So awesome, Alex. It was great speaking with you. It was great learning about what you do, and, you know, knowing how, and it's good to know, and it's heartwarming to know that, you know, there are people who are actually looking at aspects or bringing in inclusivity in ways that, you know, we don't usually think about. So the thoughtfulness behind all of the work that you're doing is amazing, and I really commend you and the team for that. So, and Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, again, not my idea, but one that I'm very, very happy to be on board with. I think it was a brilliant idea. As soon as I heard it, I thought, yes, got to do that.
Great.
So, yeah.
So, brilliant. Thank you, Alix, for being here. And thank you. So, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Great to speak to you. All right.
Same.
Thanks.